On a brutal Arizona morning, a 23-year-old geologist vanished. His Jeep was found crushed in a ravine. His clothes? Piled on the ground. His phone? Smashed. His last conversations? Strange, erratic, unfinished. And the official explanation? Makes no sense. What happened next created one of the most troubling modern missing person mysteries in America. This is the disappearance of Daniel Robinson. This case involves a real missing person and an active investigation. All details come from verified public sources. Nothing here accuses anyone. Our goal is to present known facts and respect those involved. June 23, 2021. Buckeye, Arizona. A young geologist named Daniel Robinson walks away from a remote work site. He gets into his blue Jeep Renegade. He drives deeper into a landscape where you can vanish in minutes. Within hours, Daniel is gone. No calls, no sightings, no tracks. Just heat, silence, and questions that have never been answered. Everything that followed, the search, the crash, the bizarre debris, the messages he sent people days earlier, the people who last saw him, all point toward a single truth. Something about Daniel's disappearance does not add up. Daniel Cornelius Robinson II was 23, a field geologist for a company contracted to study desert groundwater. Smart, quiet, private. He'd recently graduated from the College of Charleston with a degree in geology and moved to Arizona for work. To the people around him, Daniel was introverted but warm. He loved astrophysics, music, documentaries, anything that made the world feel bigger. But the days leading to June 23rd, something in Daniel shifted. 1. He became distant. Family said he sounded off, like he was thinking too quickly or too deeply. Not panicked, not depressed, just elsewhere. 2. He became hyper-focused on a co-worker he barely knew. A woman he delivered groceries to once said Daniel sent increasingly unusual messages. Not threatening, but highly emotional, too personal, too fast. She eventually blocked him. This happens days before he disappears. 3. He stopped acting like himself at work. Co-workers describe him as zoned out, not fully present, or moving slower than usual. None of these things were individually alarming, but together they paint the earliest shadow of something unraveling. 5:45 a.m. Daniel leaves his apartment in Tempe and drives toward a remote work site near Sun Valley Parkway. It's a barren region. Few cars, no shade, just dried riverbeds, cliffs, and broken rock. 7:30 a.m. He arrives at the well site. 2 people are there, another geologist and a pump technician. The other geologist later says Daniel was not behaving normally. He seemed distracted, stared into the distance, told him he needed rest. Then Daniel suddenly leaves. No explanation, just gets into his Jeep, drives east, and disappears into the desert. The technician remembers watching the blue SUV drift away, not fast, but unusually calm. Like Daniel wasn't in a hurry, but also wasn't fully aware of where he was going. They expected him to return. He never did. Hours pass. No messages from Daniel. His shift ends. He still isn't home. By that evening, his family reports him missing. The police response is slow. Search efforts don't begin until the next day. Helicopters, drones, ground teams, dogs, all crawling across the desert. Nothing. No tracks. No signs of struggle. No tire marks leaving the area. It's like the desert swallowed him whole. Almost a month later, on July 19th, 2021, Daniel's Jeep Renegade is found. A rancher discovers it sitting in a ravine on private property, miles from the job site. The vehicle looks like it survived a violent crash. But here's where things get strange. 1. The airbags deployed, but the crash sequence looks staged. Black box data shows the Jeep went through multiple ignition cycles after the crash. That means someone turned the car on and off several times after the collision. Why would a missing person do that? Why would anyone? 2. The Jeep was found with the windows open in the desert during monsoon season, illogical and risky. 3. Daniel's clothing was found in a pile nearby boots, pants, shirt, turned inside out, placed neatly, not torn, not weathered, not scattered. 4. His phone and keys were found inside the car. The phone was damaged, data unclear, and critical portions unrecoverable. 5. The Jeep's location makes no physical sense. To get where the car was found, someone would need to drive miles off-road, pass through bushes and rock formations, navigate a ravine with steep inclines, avoid leaving visible tire tracks. Investigators said the Jeep may have hit the ground at 30 miles per hour, nose first. Yet Daniel's injuries are unknown. No blood was found, and the scene carried no signs of a person limping away. The Jeep feels like the beginning of the mystery, not the end. From here, the story fractures into possibilities. None proven, all disturbing. Theory 1. A psychological break. Some believe Daniel suffered a sudden mental health crisis, triggered by stress, isolation, or emotional fixation. This doesn't explain the Jeep's condition, but it could explain why he left the work site abruptly. The desert is unforgiving. Heat exhaustion can create hallucinations, disorientation, and dehydration within minutes. If Daniel wandered, the desert may have claimed him, but the absence of remains after exhaustive searches? That complicates everything. Theory 2. Foul play. Daniel's family strongly believes someone harmed him. Why? Because the crash scene does not match Daniel's driving patterns, because the Jeep seems deliberately placed, because his digital footprint contains unreadable gaps, because there are people who interacted with him in the days before he vanished who changed their stories. If someone staged the crash to hide their involvement, the desert is a perfect place to disappear evidence. But no suspect exists. No motive has surfaced. No forensic link ties anyone to the Jeep. Theory 3. A staged disappearance. Some investigators argue Daniel may have walked away deliberately. But there are issues. He left behind his wallet, keys, phone, work equipment. He had upcoming plans. He had no history of running away. And most importantly, the desert is not a place to go unless you're trying to die. A staged disappearance requires preparation. Daniel showed none. Theory 4. Environmental accident. Could Daniel have crashed, become concussed, removed his clothes, and wandered until he collapsed? Possible. Heat stroke can make people strip clothing due to a phenomenon called paradoxical undressing. But this still doesn't explain why the car was turned on and off multiple times, why no tracks were found, why searches uncovered no remains, why the crash pattern is inconsistent with a normal accident. This is the most logical theory, and still illogical. Years later, the desert still holds its silence. Volunteers continue to search. Private investigators have combed through thousands of acres. Drones, cadaver dogs, satellite scans. Nothing reveals Daniel's fate. He remains missing. After all this time, the case collapses into 5 questions nobody has answered. Why did Daniel abruptly leave the worksite? How did the Jeep end up destroyed in a ravine with no tracks leading to it? Why were the clothes neatly removed, not torn, not scattered? Why did the vehicle's black box show multiple ignition cycles? Where is Daniel now? These questions are the skeleton of a mystery that refuses to die. A mystery that should feel simple. A man disappears. A car is found. Evidence emerges. Answers follow. But here, the closer you look, the less the pieces fit. Every explanation feels incomplete. Every theory breaks under scrutiny. Every conclusion leads back to the same place. A young man walked into the Arizona desert. And nothing that followed makes any sense. The desert doesn't hide everything. It gives back what it chooses. But for now, it still keeps Daniel Robinson.